We always have known that this was not the end. It was only the beginning of our fight to rescue the American dream. And it's a word you don't use, 2 words. I don't want to be Joe. It's 2 words, American dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Well, joining us now is the Democratic strategist Calvin Dark on what this could mean for the United States. I'm interested to know, actually, whether or not you are pleased to see he's running again, because it actually paved a pretty successful midterms for the Democrats, arguably.
Well, for our country, I don't think this is a very good decision, but just from a strict political standpoint for the Democratic Party, it's great, because if we're looking to 2024, why not look to someone that's already been soundly defeated by the Democrats and the sitting president to run against? So in that sense, it is good news.
In terms of who he could potentially face, though, Joe Biden, would he be too old? Certainly his position has been strengthened in terms of getting the Democratic nomination, given his successful midterm campaign.
Yes, the midterms have changed a little bit of the conversation when it comes to Joe Biden, because in his favor, obviously, he is the only Democrat that has defeated Donald Trump in an election. So he has that going for him. Obviously, issues of his age, he turns 80 on Sunday, is a major concern for Americans, particularly Democrats. But, let's kind of keep it in perspective. Donald Trump is 76. So age is relative. It depends on if both of them have the drive and the stamina and all that they need to campaign for 2 whole years before our election in 2024.
Well, so potentially then, given the age of both of those men, would it not be fair to say that if Ron DeSantis was given the Republican ticket, his age would give him a significant advantage? And he does carry some of the qualities, some of the audience, shall we put it, of some of the Republican fan base that Donald Trump has.
Yes, he definitely does. And his age is definitely a plus. But here's what's working against Ron DeSantis. He has not been tested nationally. He is extremely popular in Florida, just had a landslide election, re-election for governor in Florida. But a lot of his message resonates with Trump's base, which is decreasing. Now, I would say that's about 30 to 40% of the Republican Party. So for a Republican primary, he would definitely have a lot of support. But when it comes to nationally, independents, moderate Democrats, people on the progressive left, Ron DeSantis isn't that popular, and he hasn't been tested nationally for us to know if he could actually win.
I'm just curious about the way the story is being covered in the States. Certainly over in the UK, it feels as though the tide in terms of the media has turned, or was beginning to turn, against Trump. Fox News cutting short that speech at Mar-a-Lago last night. Rupert Murdoch announcing, you know what, time's up, I'm not going to support you in this, I'm going to support DeSantis. And we know, obviously, CNN, historically always on the left of this, but is the right beginning to turn its back on Trump?
The right in media and the right in policymakers, the elites, the influencers, definitely. And I think for a lot of them, it's just strategic. Why would you elect someone who has continued to lose when they have been in the race, but then also when they've endorsed candidates who have lost? However, I'll have to wait till I see it from the base, because I know they want that to be true. I know they want to move on from Trump, but he has a very loyal base in the Republican Party, and there is no indication yet that they have decided to move on from Trump to someone else like Ron DeSantis or others.
Before we let you go, Calvin, Joe Biden obviously in a strong position now to run on the Democratic ticket in 2024. But if he didn't, who else is a front runner? And what happened to Kamala Harris?
Well, I think that there are, I would say, 5 or 6 on the Democratic side, a few in Joe Biden's cabinet, who could run, who ran against him in the primaries in 2020. including Kamala Harris. Now, obviously, it would be a challenge because I don't think she's at the top of that list. But you know what? It's 2 years. A lot can change between now and November of 2024. And if Biden doesn't decide to run again, it gives whoever on the Democratic side enough time to build up that name and that reputation and get that support to face Donald Trump or whomever the Republicans pick as their candidate in November 2024.
OK.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. 2 years is an eternity in politics, especially given the pace at which politics has been happening here in the UK. Really good to get your thoughts, Calvin. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Calvin Dark, Democratic strategist, with that for us from Washington.